Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. No jokes, no pranks, just good old-fashioned dummies. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
We are also joined by our good friend, writer, performer, filmmaker, songwriter, Greg Smith is here.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Greg, thank you so much for being here. I was about to say for having me.
You know, at this point, I'm such an old hat. I'm such a regular that the boundaries of host and guest are collapsed.
Oh,
we're all one. Yeah. It's my podcast now.
Oh no!
And we're gonna talk about Sony.
No. Greg, do you have that PlayStation 5?
I do have that PlayStation 5.
Ooh, how's that PlayStation 5 life?
Oh, wow. What a treat. What a dream. And I had a PS4 for a minute. I sold it around, I want to say like 2017. So I'm kind of diving back hard into that world of video gaming, and oof, what a joy.
So does that mean that you are exploring those what are they called? There's like a whole series of games that they released for PlayStation 5 that are PlayStation 4 games that are like, if you missed out, you get to play these games for free.
Yeah, they did a whole, there's like 20 you can get for free if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber. I did grab a good amount of them. I would say of those, I'm kind of really enjoying God of War the most.
We were talking about God of War on this podcast just a couple weeks ago.
You cheaters! That's not Nintendo.
Know.
You cheaters!
I know, yeah.
We were asked, a listener asked, speaking of cheaters, my copy of Sonic Forces, would you, the listener, like to borrow it? You can if you want to. All you got to do is email us at nintendocartridgesociety at gmail.com.
At gmail.com.
And give us a mailing address where we can send you my copy of Sonic Forces. You play it for as long as you want. You send it back. The postage has been paid. You don't have to worry about anything here. Correction, you have to worry about one thing. Maybe you accidentally get my copy of Untitled Goose Game. There are two versions of my Sonic Forces floating around out there. One of them is actually Untitled Goose Game. So look out. There's nothing you can do to control it. It's just a matter of goose may happen to you. So that's the one thing. Other thing is April is Kid Icarus month. So we are going to be playing all 3 Kid Icarus games through the course of April. On April 8th, we will be playing the original Kid Icarus for the NES. I'm recommending picking up the 3D Classics version on the 3DS. If you all things being equal, it fixes some jump issues, and it's just a prettier game. But it's also available on the NES Switch Online if you don't want to spend extra money on it. April 15th, we are playing Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters for the Game Boy. And then on April 22nd, we are playing Kid Icarus Uprising for the 3DS. So play along and listen along. And Mark is nodding along because he's having a good time playing Kid Icarus.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about it.
It's going to be good. You a big Kid Icarus guy, Greg?
I don't think I've played a single one. I think I only know Pit through like Super Smash Brothers.
Super common experience, something we're trying to rectify with our Kid Icarus month.
Is it like a side-scroller combat kind of thing?
Yeah, the first two are like side-scrolling, they're kind of a mix between like action games, like interspersed with like a kind of Metroidvania dungeon exploration. They're weird games, and they're too challenging for their own good, but they're not bad, and we will talk about them for the rest of the month.
Hell yeah. Heck yeah.
But in the meantime, let us get into our topic at hand. Let's discuss some grade A Nintendo idiots. So first thing is I just wanted to set Greg playing the theme music in the air, in the piano in the air. I love it. First thing is I just wanted to set the record straight. Now I know that saying that we're going to talk about Nintendo idiots and bringing a guest on implies that we think the guest is an idiot. Not so.
No, I don't think that's
Okay.
true at
Woo.
all. Let me just go get a snack. Huh, what's this? What's this banana peel on the Whoa!
I told Sarah that we were having you on to talk about idiots, and she was like, "What are you saying about Greg?" And I was like, "Wow, geez." Oh.
I never would have. I did not even jump to that implication. But maybe that makes me an idiot. Who knows?
No, it makes you a sweet boy, and we're all
Oh.
sweet boys here. So, what we're doing now is we are putting off doing like an April Fool's Day episode of the show because it's April Fool's Day as you're listening to this, and like I don't know about you guys. I don't like pranks. I don't like practical jokes. I think they're mean. I don't want to do them. I don't want to do them on this show. But instead, we're gonna talk about fools from our favorite Nintendo games.
That's right. And I found this more challenging than I thought it was going to be. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I had a tough time with it too. I think there is something to video game characters that there's like a level of like agency or like cleverness about just about all of them. Like if there's a character in a game that's like purely an idiot, it's almost like what are they doing there, right?
Yeah, it does kind of make you sort of have to semantically tackle with what an idiot even means.
Right.
Yeah, true.
I sort of like I tried to categorize mine almost based on like specific definitions of idiots.
Yes, there's there's a specific category of idiot that I will bring up when we get to him that I was like, oh, I'm missing this kind of idiot.
Mm.
And then I filled it and I was like, that's perfect. We could maybe even do a whole episode of this kind of idiot. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Who would like to go first?
I think Greg should go first.
Wow.
Very good. The guest goes first.
Okay. I want to start off. I want to come in hot.
Yeah.
And when I say hot, I mean literally. Because I believe that this video game character from Nintendo franchises is about as classic an archetype of the himbo persuasion
Very good.
as we have. And for those who don't know, a himbo, which is kind of a portmanteau of like him and bimbo, himbo, I saw it defined very clearly earlier today. It's somebody who's hunky, buff, and stupid.
Yes.
And when I think of somebody who's hunky, buff, and stupid, I think of my man Donkey Kong.
Ooh.
I think Donkey Kong.
Mm-hmm.
I actually forgot one very important: hunky, stupid, and nice.
Yes.
To be a himbo. Himbos are inherently kind people. Donkey Kong being buff, yeah, look at the guy, he's jacked.
Yeah.
That ties,
huge.
you know.
His shoulders are out of control,
Yeah.
especially when you compare them to his waist.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Ooh, hourglass, baby. And on top, ooh. So he's jacked, no doubt about it. Is he stupid? This one I might be putting a little bit of a personality on him. I do think he has kind of especially in later depictions, like in the Tropical Freeze game and in like Mario vs. Rabbids, the DLC, he has kind of like a bumbling, I rush before I think kind of quality to him. But he's so kind. He wants to do the right thing. There are people around him constantly trying to rein him in. All he knows is to smash things and be jacked and be sweet. He's a classic himbo. I love him. Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong was one that floated through my brain too. And I wrestled with the same question of, is he stupid? Because like on some level, it's like, is it fair to hold an animal up to human intelligence standards? And
he walks the line.
He walks the line. He's not anthropomorphic in the way that like, you know, Diddy Kong or like a lot of the other Donkey Kong characters are. But like if we're to say he's an animal, he's a gorilla, right? Or whatever he is. and he wears a tie.
Yeah.
Like he ties that tie.
Well, we don't know.
We don't know because like Diddy could tie it for him and then just leave it loose, and then Donkey just like
That's true.
puts it on the way out. Pat, guys, I also consider Donkey Kong and struggled with this one as well. But I think I agree with Greg that there
Yeah.
is something about him that is just a little bit not collected, a little bit not together. And look, I don't want to victim shame in any way, but at the beginning of Donkey Kong Country, when he's like missing his bananas, there's something about it that you're like, but I feel like it's your fault a little bit.
Well, I mean, not only is it maybe his fault a little bit, it's guarded by a sign, right? It just says like "Do not steal," or I don't even know. Does it just say bananas on it? Who knows? But there's something where it's like, what are you doing hoarding bananas? They're bananas. They go bad.
Yeah, they're bananas. They go bad. I just feel like he is surrounded by people. He's almost like George W. Bush, let's say.
Okay, yeah, sure.
He's like the kind of character you want to just like sit down and have a beer with. He'll make you laugh. He'll watch the game with you. But if you want him to like focus on anything and do anything, he's got to have a console of Diddy, Dixie, Funky, Cranky to like just, we need you to go in this direction and smash that. Or
Cranky being the Dick Cheney here, yeah.
Yeah, and Cranky did use that power for bad. It's true.
He sure did. I mean, he really stretched the definition of what that seat, what power he can actually wield there.
Did you see Adam McKay's Kong?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I feel like Christian Bale is a weird choice for Cranky Kong, but like, he pulls it off.
Yeah, the makeup helps. Yeah.
Greg, I love starting with Himbo because that is exactly the category that I was referring to. A kind of idiot that I needed in my lineup of idiots here. And so I submit for Himbo Raphael from Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now, Raphael is a member of the Golden Deer. He is the absolutely enormous, like just jacked 5 ways from Sunday dude who he's so big that his shirt will never fit. It's always like straining against the buttons of his shirt. And he is such a kind, giving and generous character. His backstory is like his parents were killed in some kind of like military action, and it happened like under the command of one of his housemates' parents. So it's Ignatz, I believe is the kid's name, and he is like immediately forgiving like of this kid, holds like no ill will against him. And he's a little bit of a food monster, right? Like he loves to eat. But he won't take Ignatz's food because he knows if Ignatz doesn't eat enough that like he gets kind of like weak, and it's just like the sweetest. He's such a sweet boy and so dumb and always complains about how hard classes are and stuff. But I just love him to death. He's one of my favorites in that game.
Yeah, he's great. I did the Blue Lion house when I played, but Raphael was one of the characters from other houses that I actively worked really hard to recruit because I'm like, yes, I'm happy with the Blue Lions, but I got to get this guy on my squad.
He's
just
I've not played Fire Emblem Three Houses, but just looking at him, I just for the listeners, if you have the ability to look him up, look up how these shirt buttons are popping. It's really satisfying. It's really and he does. I would want to be around this person, He has a very inviting, warm kind of energy to him.
Yeah, and like that affability is like a huge part. Like he may even he's kinder than he is stupid, but man, is he stupid. Like we shouldn't lose hold of the fact that like he is a poor student, but like he's gonna show up every day and like give it his all and like get C's and just barely pass. He's gonna be great.
Good for him. I bear no ill will toward that.
Neither do. And look, I don't know that we have to bear ill will towards any of these idiots.
No, we should each have one. We'll decide at the end which idiot
Very good.
we bear ill will toward.
Well, okay. Well, guys, I also have my list is, I guess, like evenly split between himbos and non-himbos. But my first one is a himbo. And because it's just like a lovable category of Nintendo characters. And so I was definitely like I thought about Donkey Kong, and in the Donkey Kong franchise, I think there's a number of great himbos. I think Greg, Donkey Kong, as you mentioned, for me, the Donkey Kong himbo is Chunky Kong.
Interesting. Wait, now Chunky's a child, right?
I don't believe.
Please be
so.
calling a child an idiot. Please.
Look, he might
Please.
be. He might be. Like, I guess I don't know the age of Chunky Kong, but let me read to you his bio from
Please.
from Donkey Kong 64. So he's big, he's bad, he plays the triangle.
Mhm.
Chunky is something of a primitive paradox, brutal when the situation demands it, yet almost meek at other times. He's also not the sharpest knife in the drawer, so he'll need all the help you can give him. If there's heavy lifting to be done, however, Chunky is the monkey to see.
Yeah, I mean that reads as an idiot. I think you're right.
And I'm looking at like a Donkey Kong wiki. His language, the way he speaks, is in kind of George of the Jungle talk. Me wait in tag barrel until you need help. That kind of stuff. He's definitely coded to be an idiot. He is.
Yeah. Also, I guess, and I'm also looking on the Donkey Kong wiki, and it says that he's the older brother of Kiddy Kong. So maybe that's my assumption, because Kiddy Kong, obviously a child, arguably a baby, but he is the older brother. So his age is unclear.
Right. And look, guys, if it turns out that I am in fact calling a child an idiot, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I stand by it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry to say, some children are not that smart, and potentially Chunky Kong is one of those children.
I agree with you. I think it is fair to say that some children, nay, most children are idiots. However, the part where that rubs me a little bit the wrong way is implying that any child is a himbo for whatever reason that crosses a line.
Prove me wrong, Chunky Kong. Prove me wrong.
I believe Chunky is also the last of the characters that you are able to recruit in Donkey Kong 64, which means that he is the character that I end up playing as the least, because I can never hang with that game long enough to like get anywhere with him specifically.
It's a hard to control game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys a question, because this is where I struggled, is between Chunky Kong and Funky Kong, where we fall on like which one is the bigger idiot.
I don't see Funky Kong as an idiot.
Yeah, that's where I landed too.
I mean, he's got like that kind of like, what's up, man, surfer bro kind of energy, but
it's like surfer expert energy,
Yeah.
right? Like he knows what he's. First of all, he runs an airline, no small feat
True.
for a monkey. So A, that. B, in Donkey Kong Country 3, he's like repairing your fan boat and stuff. And I just like, he has yes, he's like a little bit rough around the edges, but I don't think that comes from a place of stupidity. I think it comes from experience. I think he's just been around the world too long to not, have some weird affectations.
Yeah.
And yet he's not jaded by it. He's still so funky.
No, he's so cool. Are there other candidates? Because this is another, and maybe we have other Donkey Kong or Donkey Kong Country characters on our lists. But Mark, you kind of opened the gates on this. Are there other Donkey Kong characters that people considered that aren't on your lists?
What's the there's like a crocodile with Ray-Bans who's also kind of jacked.
There's like the super jacked ones that are like wearing the muscle tanks.
Yeah.
That like when you hit them, they're like, ooh.
Yes. They strike me as like beach bully idiots.
Yeah.
Like they're dumb. They'll kick sand in your face.
Totally.
You'll try to
knock down your sandcastle.
They'll knock down your sandcastle. You'll try to insult them. They won't get it.
No.
They seem like classic middle school bully idiots to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that tracks. I think that there's also there's a beaver who's a boss in the Donkey Kong Donkey Kong Country. He's got it's only one piece of evidence of idiocy. is when you hit him, he like turns to the camera and laughs, and it's that like ooh laugh, which reads as idiot to me.
Yes, it does.
I feel like the Kong that I don't know enough about, so I hesitate to call him an idiot, is Lanky Kong.
Okay.
Yeah,
Plays a trombone.
There is something about him.
Yeah, there is something. He wears overalls, right? He wears like
Yeah, he
real
does.
clothes. Yeah, okay.
He's got overalls. He's got a shirt that doesn't fit, which to me does read idiot.
It's tough for a monkey though. Like, where does a monkey get clothes that fit?
Yeah, that's a good point. Donkey Kong, you know what? Donkey Kong maybe was the smartest one. He was just like, the tie, that's it.
The tie, it's got my initials on it. That's
Yeah.
all I need. Okay, well, thank you for entertaining the other idiots in Donkey Kong Country. Greg, I believe that brings us back to the top of the rotation
Yes.
for your second idiot.
Let's take a journey to a little franchise called Pokemon. So this idiot is the kind of idiot that, like, you feel bad at yourself for finding them so annoying. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You look at them and you're like, God, I hate you. Oh, I'm a bad person. And this is a Pokemon by the name of Mr. Mime.
Oh, Mr. Mime.
Oh, yeah. That's
Oof.
a good one.
Whew, he's tough. He's a tough hang.
He is, because he can't turn it off.
No. And he's so, like, smiley, and he's so open, and he's so eager. Mr. Mime! He's so eager to do his dumb mime stuff. And in the anime series, which I don't know if we're counting as, like, Nintendo canon, he, like, does house cleaning and stuff, and he's bad at it, and he gets into, like, Dick Van Dyke-esque slapstick. And if I lived with that, I would get so mad.
That would be so irritating.
And then I'd be like, he's just trying his best. I can't. What an idiot.
But with Mr. Mime, it's tough because it's like, it's so close to being a human being, and that you feel as though you have to treat it like a human being. But it's a Pokemon. It's like a monster machine,
pocket
whatever.
monster, yeah.
It's a pocket monster. And like, can we apply? Like, I think you're absolutely right. This thing is an idiot. I think there are kind of a lot of Pokemon idiots.
Yeah.
I was going to mention the Psyduck, who is an idiot, but I think he's got like psychic trauma that's causing that.
Yes, Psyduck
Yeah.
was also under consideration for me, but he seems more neurotic anxious than, like,
Great point.
idiot.
Yeah.
He's more of an Albert Brooks than a William Hurt in broadcast news.
100%. He's still making bad decisions, but it's out of panic
Yes.
and not out of stupidity.
Yes, exactly. Mr.
Oh,
Mime
yeah.
is like I don't know, Jim Carrey and Liar Liar, or like Mr. Bean. He's like kind of funny, but
Yeah.
oof.
Tough energy in real life, right? Like just tough energy to be around in real life. And you know, we all hang out with funny people, with comedians, right? And there almost always reaches a point where you're like, okay, I wish you had the emotional intelligence to
Yes.
turn off the bit machine and
Yes.
just like
Mhm.
that we could just talk like, and you know that Mr. Mime is never going to get there.
Yeah,
You-
but like to Greg's point, kind of the tragedy of Mr. Mime is that it's his nature. Like, he doesn't have the ability to turn it off.
Yeah. And I guess this does kind of, again, it's the Donkey Kong walking the line of, like, should I call a pocket monster that I keep and use as, like, my battle slave an idiot? Should I kick Mr. Mime when he's down? I don't know.
Well, I mean, okay, the way you can think about it, one way to think about it is that as a pocket monster, Mr. Mime is kind of like a dog. And dogs are great and they're very lovable and they're smart in their own way. But we love calling dogs idiots
do.
because, they're
Yeah, it's true.
goofy and
It's
they're
fun.
doing their own thing. Now, I think because Mr. Mime, it's almost like because Mr. Mime is close to being helpful, right? He like tries to do housework and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff, but fails. It's almost worse
Yeah.
because he's like right on the cusp. Whereas like a
Yeah,
dog,
right.
there's no expectation they're going to answer the phone or write thank you notes,
Exactly. Mr. Mime, if he just stayed in his lane, right?
just needs to stay in his lane. Exactly the phrase I was going to use.
Yes. And I'm glad you brought up the thank you note thing. I got him booked on this clown gig at the Dynasty typewriter. He hasn't written me a thank you note back. It's very, very frustrating.
I mean, try not to think of that as rude and just try to think of it as he's flighty and,
Yeah, but at a
is.
certain point, when is it
Yes.
it he's being a bad friend to me, and when does it turn into I'm being a bad friend to myself? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
absolutely. And you got to watch out for yourself because Mr. Mime's not looking out for you.
No, he's
so.
not.
But it's difficult because you're like, well, I am friends with him, so like, at what point, like, do you just cut off Mr. Mime, right? Or
That
are you
feels
just like, well,
harsh.
that's like the bargain I'm making when I'm friends
Right.
with him is just like I know that he's not going to be thankful or like he's not going to reciprocate.
Well, and what's the alternative? The alternative is like you make yourself put up with it. You become resentful of Mr.
Yeah,
Mime.
I don't want to
and you
resent Mr.
slowly
Mime.
drift apart. Like no, like it's better just to like cut it off and be like you're free, Mr. Mime. Go find other mimes to Mr. around with.
You're right. I'm gonna text him later. You're right.
Okay, all right. I'm also going to well, so this isn't an idiot that I actually feel bad about. It's a character who has become more of an idiot in recent iterations, and it saddens me that he's become an idiot because I don't think in his original incarnation that he was. I think there are extenuating circumstances that made him behave the way he did, and that's either been retconned or I don't know what into just being a big dummy. And I'm referring to Blanca from the Street Fighter series.
Oh,
So not technically Nintendo, but I played a lot of Street Fighter 2 on
Super Nintendo?
On Super Nintendo, just a ton of it. And back in those days and in like Street Fighter Alpha 3, he is a lost child in the Brazilian rainforest who has found his way back to civilization. And so is rough around the edges, is a brutal warrior, but like anything that you could ascribe to him as stupid is not like it's just he hasn't like acclimated to being among other humans. He spent his whole life in the wilderness, separated from his mother. Like maybe he was an idiot then, but I feel like it's totally understandable, right?
it's kind of I've never really heard that deep of his origin story. It's almost like Nell a little bit.
It is a little bit like Nell. And like Nell is very sad, and you don't feel good calling Nell an idiot.
No, I would not do that.
It's not fair. And in Street Fighters 4 and 5, which are the games that take place like chronologically immediately after Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 3 takes place like way in the future. But in Street Fighters 4 and 5, he becomes something way dumber. Like he ends up being friends with Sakura and Dan, and he's a good friend, but like is just constantly messing stuff up. Never has a gauge of his own strength, so he's frequently like ruining things. And in Street Fighter 4, the person who voices him basically voices him like Kevin from The Office.
Yeah.
Like he sounds like Kevin from The Office, which feels less primitive and more just straight dumb, right? Yeah. And there's a beat in Street Fighter 5 where he is creating little action figures of himself, little stuffed animals of Blanca to sell. And he gets like one deal to sell them to an arcade in Japan that they have in like those claw machines. And he hangs out at that arcade and watches people play this claw machine. And when they get upset that they got like the Blanca toy, he like goes and wrecks the machine.
Oh.
So it's just like, I just feel like they wrote him down. They just kept writing him down.
Yeah.
I don't like what Blanca has become.
So, not to put a label on everything, but like, is Blanca a himbo now?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I think they've sort of written him into himbo territory.
But the way you're describing him, he doesn't seem to be nice. He seems to be kind of like angry in his sort of primacy.
Yeah, I mean, he's good to his friends, to Sakura and Dan, but
making a doll of yourself is himbo behavior. Punching the machine when nobody buys it is not.
Yeah,
no,
that's
it's
true.
not.
That's true.
Have you guys seen the Blanca doll? Because it is also a like an alternate costume for Blanca. It's a really crappy looking doll,
Oh,
which is almost more endearing.
Oh, I've just looked it up. It is. It's actually really cute.
Yeah, it's got like big googly eyes on it.
so what is there like? Sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Is there like a Street Fighter writers room? Is it like they were sitting around and they were like, "What do we do with Blanca? We kind of need a comedic foil. The actor won't like it, but I guess let's do this." You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's so tough because like Street Fighter V didn't launch with individual character story modes. It also didn't launch with Blanca. He came in like the third or fourth wave of DLC characters. But like all the most fighting games have just absolutely bananas stories, right? But when you get down to the individual character stories in Street Fighter, they just go like absolutely off the rails. There's a character in Street Fighter V named Axel who's like 8 feet tall and thinks he's a truck.
Good. No nuts. Good.
And like that's his story. His story is he runs into people and is like, and they're like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Honk honk," and then they fight.
But see, okay, I mean, that's the perfect. Axel's such a great example. 'Cause, like, on the one hand, I'm immediately like, "Wow, Axel is an idiot," but then you kind of feel bad because it's like, well, clearly he's like so stupid that
Yeah.
like pointing out how stupid he is like
It feels like
can't
punching
makes me
down.
a bad person.
No. I can't let you guys team. I've learned about him 3 seconds ago, and he's my favorite person now. Axel is the smartest of us all. He is the purest, most committed. He is a truck. I'm not even going to say he thinks he is. He is a truck.
Yeah. But not my idiot. My idiot is Blanca.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my next one is one that like I don't want to say that I feel bad about because I don't. Like I truly think this character is an idiot, but I feel like they're more hapless than like anything. And that is Toad from the Mario
strong
series.
pick.
Like I think the best thing you can say for Toad, and I really believe this, is that like he's a Toad of action when he is called upon to be. Like in Super Mario Brothers 2, like when you play as him, like he will do what has to be done. But I think like outside of when he's a playable character, like Toad is just kind of like a mess, like not helpful at all. If he's not being kidnapped, he's just like panicking all the time, and it's just like, dude, calm down. Like if you're like either help or just like get out of the way.
Yeah.
Like you just like complaining or crying or like being scared is not helping the situation.
Even when he's Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, he's like out of his element. He's panicked. Yeah, yow! It's like the weird noise he makes.
Yeah.
I would not trust that captain.
The thing, so if we're talking Captain Toad, I think that's where I push back a little bit. I think he is still dumb, but he's so afraid of everything and perseveres anyway, right? Like there's something very admirable about, and I dare not call it bravery because like it is not. But like it's still admirable. Branching out to just like Toad in general, I think that's an unqualified. Yeah, he's an idiot. How do we feel about Toadette?
I don't think of Toadette as an idiot.
Yeah, I don't think of Toadette as an idiot either.
I'm not sure why. She seems more stable somehow.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I feel this way about Dixie Kong a little bit too. I think like the pigtails are coded to me as like, oh, she's clever.
Yeah, grounded. You know, one thing I think that in my mind is you know, like canonically toads as a species, they choose their own gender. And I think, or how they want to present.
I didn't know
And
that.
I think like Toadette, like making the choice to present like female and different from the other toads to me is like, no, that's like a special, like that is a toad that thinks for itself.
Right.
Do you think Toad? I don't know. How do I want to say this? Are toads attracted to other toads?
Great question.
Are they asexual? What, I don't.
I think they They must be.
It's none of
they
my
must be
business.
asexual, right? I would. Well, and I guess it's maybe just not in a way that we can perceive, but they're never coded in a way of like trying to seduce other toads, or like you don't see them like dressing sexy for each other or anything like that.
But I think, Patrick, also you're using your perception and like your like
Absolutely,
human
absolutely.
perception of what like
Right.
sexy is. And so as far as we know, like, I mean, it could be that the toads are incredibly horny and are always like showing off for
Right.
each other, and we just are completely oblivious.
Yeah.
Just like I would be oblivious, you know, if like fish were attracted to each other.
It's a really good point.
But I mean, to the point of fish, are fish attracted to each other, or are they just attracted to fertilizing eggs that are on? You know what I mean?
Oh, that's also a good point.
I do know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I feel like there's only like a few species besides humans that are just like quote unquote horny for each other, right? Like
Yeah.
dolphins,
that's right.
some monkeys, right?
yeah, bonobos.
Yeah. That we're saying have sex for pleasure.
Just for pleasure, not for fertilization.
Yeah. Yeah.
When
and
toads have sex, it's to get pregnant.
Yeah, I think that's
No
right.
other reason.
Well, we have to imagine that toads are fungal in some capacity, right?
Sure.
So they must like release spores and reproduce that way. Okay, good. Good. We're all quietly nodding in agreement, trying to decide how dirty we want to get on this podcast.
No, I'm just picturing it. Just picturing it.
Yeah. That's good though. I think Toad is a good pick for idiot, and I like the way that he is presented in Super Mario Brothers 2 and Super Mario 3D World as like a representation of that, because he's the fastest, and so he is, barreling into every situation sort of haphazardly, especially in Super Mario 3D World as it is on the Switch, where everyone runs a little bit faster and he just runs like irresponsibly fast. I think he's a total idiot.
I'll take this opportunity, bringing up Toda, to transition to my third idiot.
Mhm.
It is a female version of a character we are used to. This is a person I would absolutely not be friends with in real life. I would be mad at them from the moment I met them. But I cannot deny that their shenanigans are very entertaining within the context of the Nintendo Switch game Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Oh yeah, baby.
I am, of course, talking about Rabbid Peach.
Oh yeah, yes, totally.
She's such a self-obsessed, like, idiot of. She's kind of like a bling ring idiot, like a early 2000s Paris Hilton culture kind of idiot. Not to knock Paris Hilton. Watch the new documentary about her; it's great. But she's like, she should have a reality show about her on E, right?
Yeah. She's like Paris Hilton without the savvy.
Yes. No savviness, no self-awareness. Always checking her phone, always like screwing up everyone else if it like makes her look good. Very funny, very entertaining. Ooh, I would not like to be around her. Oof.
I love Greg, I love this because I think this is our first modern idiot.
Yes.
Right? Like I think this is the first idiot who is expressing their idiocy in ways that we see 21st century idiots.
Yeah, she is she's like a Black Mirror idiot. Her phone is like so much a part of her imagery. Yes. I'm sure her Instagram feed is popping.
Yes, that's the part where like I completely agree with you that she's an idiot, but I think compared to some of the other idiots that we've talked about, like Toad or Blanca, where it's like I don't envy those idiots, but I do envy the lack of self-awareness that like somebody like Peach Rabbid can exhibit, and just like live in this world where it's like I don't want to go all that way, but I would love to be able to dial the myself a little bit more towards that, where it's like, ooh, I'm not so like self-conscious all the time.
Exactly. She's the kind of person who will make no qualms about dressing down a server if her salad isn't right.
Right. Oh my God.
She will cut in front of line to get COVID tested. She'll just, whatever she wants, she will do anything to get it. And that is I fully agree. I want 10%
There's
of that
something
in my
admirable
life.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so interesting to hold her up against the other like Mario Party like Rabid clones. I don't know why I said Mario Party. The Mario Rabid, Luigi Rabid, and the Yoshi Rabid, that she is so distinctive among those
Yeah.
characters, and so distinct from who Peach is
Yeah.
too. Like it is as though the rest of them like saw the character that they were emulating, or the character they were copying, and like understood something basic about them, and like that turned them into what they are. But she just saw the blonde hair and the crown and was like, I got it, I know what this is, and like is just way wrong.
Yeah.
But
But
she
at
has
the
the
same
she has the confidence though. She's not worried about it. She's just like, whatever. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah. And it kind of makes sense that she interpreted, she's a superficial person. She's all about
Yes.
surfaces. Blonde hair, tiara. I've got it. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make it sing. And she does. I want to
Yeah,
watch her
she does.
reality show.
It's true.
And I never want to go like have Sweet Green with her because she'll destroy my reputation.
Yeah, it'll be, and you'll have a bad time.
Yeah. She'll make fun of me,
Yeah,
Yeah. No, thank
yeah,
you.
you don't need it.
I think that
yeah.
Princess Rabid, she would for sure, out of all the characters we've talked about, like she would win a season of Survivor.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. She's a schemer.
Though, would she be willing to like get in the muck and like eat bugs and stuff?
I
See,
think
I feel
she
like
might, as like a
Yeah.
launching pad for her, like what she sees as like later stardom. I mean, really, she'd probably go on like The Bachelor, I
Yeah.
think, and try to be part of like Bachelor Nation, go on Bachelor in Paradise,
Mhm.
maybe if she's lucky, get like a season of Bachelorette. Like, I think that's probably more like where she would like try to get in, but I
Yeah.
could see her going on Survivor, potentially.
She would make an incredible closing fire ceremony speech. She would be so
Yes.
cruel, and I want to see that.
See, I think if you think about her on Survivor, you have to not discount her roots as just being a rabbit, right? Because like she's gonna bring that chaotic energy to everything that's happening there. So like there's the like vain social media princess angle, but there's also the rabbit
Yeah.
angle. Like so I think she'll gobble those bugs up, no problem.
That's a really good point. And that it is ultimately kind of what stops her from being a smarter, more self-aware Paris Hilton or Kim Kardashian.
Yes,
Is that
yes.
rabidness is just chaos. It's just she can't control it.
Right. Greg, what a great pick. I love that. I'm imagining the like bus ad for her Bachelorette season.
Yes.
Just a black and white picture of Rabbit
She's
Beach.
back.
It's so good. For my third idiot, I picked one of my a friend that came into my life over the course of this last year. One of my neighbors in Animal Crossing, one of my earliest neighbors in Animal Crossing, is a goat named Sherb. I encourage you to look up Sherb because he's adorable. He is the lazy type of he has the lazy personality type, which a lot of you could maybe argue that all Animal Crossing neighbors that have the lazy personality are idiots. But Sherb like brings this to a new level. All he wants to do is sleep and talk to bugs.
Hell yeah. I mean,
there
heck yeah, sorry.
There are bugs that live in his house, and he doesn't want to disturb them. He talks to them sometimes. He's such a sweet boy, that like I can't really express why I like Sherb as much as I do. But here's an example of Sherb's idiocy. At some point, Sherb was maybe the third or fourth animal that moved to my island, right? So he's like literally I've had this character in my life every day for the last year. And at some point Sarah gave him the it's called the disguise in Animal Crossing. It's the glasses with the fake nose and mustache. Just as like a gift because you can give them gifts. And Sherb, God love him, he wears the disguise out. He walks around the island with this disguise on his face. And it's like, sure, we all know it's you, buddy.
Does he think he's fooling them, or is it just for fun?
It's just for fun. He's
Good.
just having funs and goofs. So like it's not like a terminal case of stupidity, but like, man, if he isn't just like the simplest of my neighbors ever in that game. And he's just so sweet. And he came around first in the spring/summertime, and he wears this like snowflake sweater, and it's just like, Sherb, you're out of control, my man.
That sounds nice though. Of like the
Yeah.
the idiots that we've discussed, like Herb sounds like he's like one that I would want to be friends with. Sure.
Yeah.
Not Herb.
Not Herb. Yeah, no, and like Sherb, I do like talking about him now. It like genuinely did feel like I was talking about a friend of
Mhm.
mine. He's very sweet. I absolutely love him. I think, and it was only in doing research for this episode that I realized this is Sherb's first appearance. He is not in previous Animal Crossing games, and like I feel like he's a home run. Like he's just an absolutely wonderful creation. So sweet, so dim, and just really, really cute.
You were looking near and far for Nintendo idiots, and the biggest Nintendo idiot was the
Aw.
one right at home.
Yeah, it's true.
My next Nintendo idiot is another himbo. I guess I've got to type. It's Detective Dick Gumshoe from the Ace Attorney series.
Oh,
This is
yes.
a Capcom series, but Nintendo adjacent. Detective,
Oh, wonderful pick.
he's loyal, he's sensitive, he's courageous, but he is also bumbling and incompetent. Like he's a police detective who is extraordinarily bad at his job, but he is also so like sincere and wants to do good that you just can't help but like love him.
You really hit it when you said sensitive. The moments that really I love noir stuff. I love like a bumbling detective kind of trope. But he gets like sad in those games.
Yeah.
In a way that truly it shocks me how deep my like floor of empathy for this weird bumbling character is. He's something special.
Yeah, his like it, cuz it's not just that he's like sensitive, but like his feelings get hurt.
Yes.
And so it's like so he takes things personally and it makes him sad.
It's oh my god, what's the main character's name? Phoenix Wright?
Yep.
Wowie zowie. Objection. Phoenix Wright is not exactly like the smartest person. He's like kind of learning on the job, and so is his partner. So it's kind of like three people of not the best intelligence trying their best, hurting each other. It's rife. It's rife for drama. It's great.
It really is. It really is. Yeah.
That's very sweet. I want to pose a question, and we don't have to consider it if we don't want to. Should we like dumb cops?
Sort of like as it relates to ACAB and Copaganda.
Is it
and stuff like that?
is it too dangerous for a dumb cop to be out there? Is he going to hurt someone is what I'm asking.
I don't think he is.
Okay.
I think I think about this a lot because I love detective fiction so much. I'd like to think that we as a society, or at least me personally, can draw the line between fiction and real life, and that a character type is different from real life. But I don't know. It's something to really unpack and think about. It's true.
It might be too big of a question for this conversation about Nintendo idiots.
I think it's right in line with it.
Good pick, Mark.
I've got one final one, my fourth idiot, if we want to go.
Yeah.
So, fourth pick, final pick. It's got to be a big pick, right?
Yeah, got it.
I got to make a big move. I got to make a splash. Maybe my favorite type of entertaining idiot trope. Putting aside, like, would I want to hang out with them? Just pure, it entertains me, is the very confident idiot. They think they're so smart. They think they're so clever. They are so dumb. And I don't think you have a main Nintendo character who embodies that spirit more than Wario.
Wow.
Wario is my fourth pick for idiot. He's quote unquote clever. He's crafty. He's got guile, I guess. But he's so greedy. He's so egotistical. He's visually, he looks silly. He farts and stuff. He's just so he's such a bull in a china shop. He's such a I've got the best scheme, and the scheme is what undoes him. I just have so much fun with him. What an idiot! What a guy!
Yeah, one of the things that I will never be able to wrap my head around with Wario is that this is a character who likes to eat garlic.
Mhm.
Fine. Everyone likes garlic. It's delicious. He'll just eat whole bulbs of garlic.
It's a weird way to eat garlic.
It's
Yeah. He's such a man of excess. Like, I feel like Greg, like, this is such a good pick because you're right that he does scheme, and so that might seem like, okay, he's not an idiot. Like, sure, like, he might have a successful game development business. Like, he might have like all of these different like things where he does have success, but that doesn't preclude him from being a complete idiot.
He's
Yeah.
very, the way you phrased like excessive. He's very Dionysian. He's very like Marie, let them eat cake. Very very playing the fiddle while Rome burns. He's got like
Yeah.
a very big like egotistical
totally.
emperor.
Yes, exactly. So he's going to like yes, he does have success occasionally, but like, he will drive himself to ruin, or he
Yeah.
will do something that doesn't have success, but he will just like come up with another scheme.
Yes.
Yeah, well, and like you raise the specter of WarioWare Incorporated, his video game company, which is something that only gets by on the strength of the multitude of other characters they invented to support WarioWare games, right?
Wow.
Like there are so many of them, and you have got like ambitious, smart. You've got Ashley, this witch, and her, I forget what her like devil companion's name is. There's the cheerleader girl. There's 9 volt and or 9 8. I'm forgetting their names. But the little like the video game kid and like the dog who's like a mechanic that works with him. There's a huge supporting cast of characters that prop up Wario and are more intelligent than he is.
You just went very deep on WarioWare lore in a way that is very impressive to me.
I didn't pull as many names as I wanted to, and I'm actually a little disappointed in myself.
I mean, when you position it like that, when you put it in that context, he's one of the classic idiot tropes. One of the ones we deal with in everyday life. The dumb boss.
Yeah.
Everyone has a boss
Yes.
who's like the figurehead who you're just like, oh my god, you can't believe what Wario wants me to do. How am I going to make this make sense? And on top of the Dionysus aspect, on top of the scheming, get-rich-quick aspects, what a pure, powerful idiot.
Yes. Yes. It's a powerful idiot is that is something else, right? Like that is like a separate thing to fear. He is the idiot who attains power, right? Who just like goes in there and takes it. I think of when we meet Wario. It's because he has taken Mario's castle while Mario is away.
How did he do
Like-
that?
Oh, well, and also why? Why are you Bowser kidnaps the princess, and it's like, okay, I guess he wants the princess, and what happens then is like Mario comes after you, and like it's a consequence to his actions. But Wario is basically begging Mario to come and take his stuff back. Like, what are you doing? Don't challenge Mario. That's Mario.
He did not do his opposition research.
Wario's a good pick. For my fourth Nintendo idiot, I'm selecting a character from Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars, a character who truly never knows himself and is blissfully unaware of anything that's going on ever. I'm referring, of course, to Prince Mallow of the Nimbus. Mallow was not raised with among his people. He was not raised as a prince. He was not raised with the other Cloud people. Instead, he is raised by Frog Fuchsius in the tadpole pond, and he believes himself to be a tadpole.
Aww.
Believes it. Yeah, it is also sad, but he's what an idiot. He has tadpole friends. He thinks he's a tadpole. Eventually, Frog Fuchsius tells him, son, you are not a tadpole. I don't know what you are. And it makes Mallow sob.
I can't handle this.
And when Mallow cries because he is a cloud prince, rain pours from the heavens. So Mallow joins your party, and you're tasked with collecting these 7 stars to exile the evil from the Mushroom Kingdom, and you eventually happen upon his homeland, the land of Nimbus, which is populated by cloud people, and everyone is abuzz about the missing prince. The missing Prince Mallow, even using the name, has returned, and Mallow's like, wow, it's interesting that these cloud people have a prince who's been missing, who has my same name.
Oh, Mallow.
But he does not know that it's him. And then the villain like arrives and puts forth this giant bird. He's like a crow who's got to be like 8 feet tall and I don't know, maybe like 600 pounds, like sumo wrestler dimensions, except tall. And is like, here's your Prince Mallow. And everyone in the kingdom is like, what? Except for Mallow, who's like, oh, it's interesting that he's not a cloud. And then Mallow follows you into the like statue room where there are statues of all of Mallow's ancestors, like leading back through generations. And he's like, man, it's crazy how much these previous princes and kings of the Nimbus look just like me. Oh, well. And he never puts it together. Someone has to say, you're Prince Mallow for him to finally catch on. It's infuriating.
That is... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say typical royal inbreeding, right?
Meghan Markleo? Meghan Markle? Meghan
Marlowe?
Mark?
I mean, it is like so many of these idiots, it is also like sad, right? Because it's, you believe what you're told about yourself and what you're told about the world, and you just accept these things. And Mallow should have believed in himself. And there's also like the counterbalance part of like, he's a magic user in the game, but all of his magic is like weather related. So I'm like, is that a sign of intelligence or is it a sign of just like natural cloud being ability? Hard to say. But yeah, I gotta count him as an idiot.
He's a very smartly written idiot to me.
Yeah.
I feel, for some reason, I feel okay laughing at his like, oh, I wonder who they're talking about, because I have this, what to me is a very like pathos laden, truly like, heartstring wrenching. Of course he thinks he's a tadpole, and I want to let him be a tadpole. And when he cries it rains, it's too much. So when I laugh at him, I'm laughing. It almost makes me feel more like I'm laughing with him than at him, because I like get where he's coming from,
Yeah, I think that's the thing where like Mallow represents like the idiot in all of us.
Yes.
Where it's like, you have like those friends or whatever, and they don't believe in themselves, or they don't, and you're just like, you just want to shake them and just be like, no, listen to me, you're awesome. And that's like Mallow's problem, is somebody just needs to like shake him by the shoulders and just be like, no, you can do whatever you want.
You are a cloud prince, enjoy it.
And I think the other thing that makes it like okay to laugh at him here is that like in the end he does take up his crown, and
of course he
ends
does.
up being of course he does. Lives a peaceful life being the king of Nimbus. Like it's good. It's good in the end.
That's a very touching. I don't know why. Maybe I've been in quarantine too long. You describing
Brother, I know.
the arc of Prince Mallow is nearly bringing me to tears. It's wrecked me.
Well, let's see if Mark can pull us out of this spiral.
Well, okay, so my next idiots, it's a collective of idiots, and the they are idiots in the way that like you're watching a horror movie and characters are making bad decisions and you just want to like take
Yeah.
them out of it because it's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you are not thinking this through. And so my final idiots are Pikmin, just the Pikmin creatures, because they come like Olimar lands on their planet, and for whatever reason, it's not explained to us. Maybe they think that Olimar is like one of them or whatever, but they just start listening and following Olimar. And they are doing whatever he asks. They're dying. They are killing themselves in order to complete his tasks. And all they're doing is helping him rebuild or capture like the parts for his spaceship so he can leave. He's out of there. He's not like there to help the Pikmin. He's not doing anything for the Pikmin. He is using them and then he is gone. And it's just drives you crazy. You're like, have some self-respect, Pikmin. Like, think for yourselves. Take a look at what's going on around you and realize that this is a negative situation. Olimar is not there to help you. He is not your friend. He's self-serving. Snap out of it, guys.
I hate to steer us back into this, but this is the way that the Pikmin reproduce. Is that Olimar creates new Pikmin by bringing fruit, by having them fetch fruit and bring it back to their pods, and then he grows more Pikmin.
But you think they don't do that on their own? Like, do they need
I don't know.
Olimar's help?
I don't know. I mean, this is a great question. Like, are Pikmin just like waiting dormant for a tiny little man to land on their planet to help them reproduce?
It kind of reminds me of like a Jane Goodall situation where it's like, I want to believe that like Olimar is
Mm-hmm.
there not to intervene unless absolutely necessary, right? But I've never really like, Mark, you've really kind of sparsely laid out the sort of colonialism, exploitation of labor, problematics inherent in the Pikmin narrative. And I'm never going to look at it the same way.
Well, I don't mean to ruin it for you because again, it's like it's not the Pikmin's fault.
No, it's
right.
not.
So it's not their fault, but from like a broader when you're like looking, because it's like, yeah, okay, like trust Olimar or whatever, but when you're like looking at it as an outside observer, that's why it's like the horror movie to me, where as an outside observer you're like, what are you doing? Like, why are you making that decision? Even though I can't say that if I was in the same situation I would be smarter about it.
Yeah, it's, human beings already kind of have difficulties with falling into mob mentality, kind of, they're doing it, I'll do it too. I would imagine Pikmin are even more kind of that primally motivated.
Yeah, and it's like a frustrating naivety, right? Like that they just don't seem to have. And it's so hard, like measuring them up against. And I wish I knew what the name of Olimar's species is, because you don't play as Olimar in Pikmin 3 until like way later in the game. But the first three that land there are, they are spacefaring creatures, right? Like they have a spaceship, they fly there because they're looking for fruit to bring back to their planet, right? Like they are a technologically superior species, and they land in this place, and it's just like that they don't stand a chance.
Yeah,
it's sad.
It's poor Pikmin. Poor Pikmin.
We've got to liberate them, I think.
Yeah, I think that's Pikmin 4 has got to be Pikmin Revolution, I think.
I think so.
I have one final idiot if we've had all of our idiots otherwise.
I could throw in a runner-up quick idiot if we want.
Yeah, please.
I considered him. Ultimately, I felt a little bad about it because I don't think it's necessarily his fault. But in the recent video game Paper Mario: The Origami King, the Bob-omb you meet, named Bobby, he's suffering from amnesia, straight up.
Oh.
I shouldn't find him such a funny idiot as I do, but he's so funny. He's so enthusiastic. He so wants to help and gets distracted and is very flighty. And his arc, like, again, kind of a Malo situation, really kind of like touched me in a way I wasn't prepared for. Big ups to Bobby, you beautiful dummy. I love you.
Ooh, that's a really good one. Also ends a little less happy than Prince Mallow.
True.
I have one from Origami King as well that I'll throw out there that I like considered because she drove me crazy. Then I was like, no, this literally is a child. I cannot put it as an idiot. It's Olivia from Your Companion
Yeah.
from Origami King. And it's like trying to wrangle a 2-year-old. Like she's always touching stuff and like making things worse. But she's so like innocent and she's new to the world that like you can't really blame her. So not like a true idiot, just unlearned.
Yeah.
She's very endearing, even as you're like, God, I need a little space from you. I need 10 minutes of adult time, you know?
And you just hand her your iPad.
Mm-hmm. Watch Peppa Pig, I don't know.
For my final idiot, this is an idiot that this is an idiot that I hold ill will for. Definitely. It is an idiot who is doing something recklessly and has, is part of a systematic problem in healthcare in the United States. I'm referring, of course, to Dr. Mario, who
Wow.
all he does is prescribe pills. All he does is prescribe pills. Doesn't matter what you come in with. Fever, chills, it's going to be the same like 4 or 5 pills over and over again. And it's irresponsible.
And it's really frightening when you think of how much it's expanded. Like Super Mario World, there are legions of doctors and more
Dr.
being
Mario
added
World,
all the time who are, Dr. Mario World, and all being added all the time who are on the same course. All they are doing are prescribing pills.
And the worst part about it is, sometimes you do need medication for things. The way to succeed at Dr. Mario, I believe, is to line them up so they disappear.
Yeah.
So not only is he overprescribing pills to everyone, the moment you want them, they're gone. And he finds that to be a victory?
It's nonsense. You ever get to the end of a Dr. Mario level where like you've been at it for a long time and there's just like one little blue virus left and you keep getting pills that aren't the right one and you're just like throwing empty pills into this bottle that are going to do nothing? Like it doesn't seem it's the Mario approach, which I like and is fun, but to medicine. And it's just not right. It's just not responsible. And I wish he wouldn't do it. I wish he wouldn't do it. B, I wish he wouldn't inspire so many other idiots to be doctors. It's bad.
In some ways, Mario might be a classic himbo/idiot himself. You've brought up like the kind of like Mario has a certain white male confidence of like,
Absolutely.
oh, I can do anything. What is this, golf club? Race car driving? Yeah, I got it. I'll be a doctor.
I can play tennis. Yeah, I can play tennis.
Yeah. I'll fake it. I'll figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, I have a little bit of a hard time like talking smack about Mario in general, just because I love him so much.
Oh, I love the guy.
But yeah, I think you're probably right.
Well,
idiot.
Greg, going to your like triangle of himboism. So like kind.
Yes.
I guess stupid, arguably, like muscly, beefy. Like I feel like that is like that.
He lacks beefiness.
Maybe not. Yeah.
And he's not hot. He's cute, but he's not hot.
I mean, tell that to the shirtless Mario in Super Mario Odyssey when you can see his little nips.
You find that hot? That doesn't do anything for me. His little nips don't do a thing.
I guess you're right. It's cute, obviously, but it's not hot.
Now, when Waluigi like does a little spinny dance or holds a rose, I'm like, oh. You are bad for me, and we're gonna have quite the weekend together, you and I.
Guys, I think we came up with a great list of Nintendo idiots.
You don't want to keep
couldn't be
talking about
happier.
that?
No, because I'm afraid of where it might take us, Greg. Greg, thank you so much for joining us
Thanks
for this
having
episode.
me. What a joy.
Is there anything that you would like to plug?
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at SmithLGreg. It's also my website, www.smithlgreg.com. And I'll say podcast-wise, there's a very lovely podcast called A Million Musicals, where these enterprising musical theater folks are undertaking the, dare I say, idiotic goal of making 1 million musicals. And I recently
Wonderful.
did some orchestrations on a sea shanty themed musical called The Good Ship Antiphony, which is out right now. It was very fun to arrange sea shanty kind of instruments. Listen to that, have a blast.
Oh, that's great, Greg. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah.
Also, I saw that you're doing some Twitch streaming now too.
I am, yeah. I've got my boys, we're called The Treats. We stream, right now we're streaming a lot of Rocket League and being very silly and dumb with each other. I'd say we're all some idiots. No regular schedule yet, but follow me on the socials. I'll keep you posted.
Very good. All right, let's close out this segment here. That is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Remember, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. If you like the episode, you can share it on Facebook or Twitter, wherever you share stuff like that. It helps us out tremendously when you do. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell, and the show is at NinCart Society. And then we also have a Facebook page, which is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. Again, our guest, the wonderful Greg Smith. Check him out, all those places. Thank you so much, Greg, for being on. This has been so much fun.
Thank you for having me. Such a treat.
Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Eller saying you can be a truck if you want to. And thanks for listening.
Hey, Oscar, Rachel, do you like Disney movies?
Yeah!
Have you seen all of them?
Yeah, we saw all the Disney animated movies.
And we saw all the Pixar animated movies too.
How about the DComs?
What?
The Disney Channel original movies. You should listen to our podcast, Inside the Disney Vault, because we are watching all of them in chronological order.
Yeah, and we do fun segments like we cast each other.
That's right, and my favorite segment, Zaddy Watch, where we rank every single DCOM daddy.
Ooh, you can listen to all this fun stuff on our podcast, Inside the Disney Vault on Campfire Media, wherever you listen to podcasts.
All right, guys, let's get back in the vault. It's cold out here.
Ooh.
Campfire.